Breaking tonight, evacuation orders have just been lifted in northwest Boise as a late season, fast moving 200-acre Goose Fire sweeps through the foothills. Now at this point, due to the work of the men and the women fighting this fire, the Ada County Sheriff's Office says no structures have been lost. But as you can see behind me, it is still burning within the Boise city limits just off of Highway 55. Evacuation sites set up earlier tonight at Shadow Hills Elementary as well as River Glen Junior High in the Boise School District. We'll head there in just a moment, where Brian Holmes has been speaking to the folks who were evacuated there. But first, let's go to Tristan Lewis. He's close to the scene. Tristan, what have you seen tonight?
So, Mark, I'm just south of the intersection at Bogart and Hill Road Parkway, where just an hour ago, ISP troopers were telling people who were coming to visit the fire, if they didn't live in the area, to please go away. And if they did live in the area, to have a to-go bag ready. But boy, what a difference an hour makes. I would say just 100 feet away from me at the top of 9 o'clock, there was large flames that crews were trying to work to put out. But as you can see behind me, not too many embers still in the foothills. There's a couple hot spots that crews are working on, but like I said, boy, what an hour difference makes. About 30 trucks from across the Treasure Valley are responding to this fire, according to the Ada County Sheriff's Office. The strong winds have made it pretty difficult for fire crews at the moment. Right now, there are no mandatory evacuations, but the fire has started to move east towards Siemens Gulch, but at last check, officials do not believe it will cross. Homeowners near the fire are preparing for whatever happens, but of course, they're hoping for the best.
I was honestly heading back home from work, and I was at the grocery store, and he called saying, hurry, get home, we might have to evacuate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I hurried up at Winco and Eagle, and then I saw all the flames and fire trucks and, police officers going by. So it was kind of hard to get home because everybody was trying to see the fire come up our driveway. So, and once I finally got home, it was just crazy how close the fire was by us already. Yeah, we were scared for a second. The wind was blowing towards our house, so we were kind of like, oh crap, we might have to evacuate, and we're informed to get ready, but luckily firefighters are awesome and took care of it for us, hopefully.
And like mentioned, this fire is estimated at 200 acres, and all the active flames have been knocked down around 8:30 tonight, according to the Bureau of Land Management. BLM expects to have the fire contained by 10 a.m. tomorrow and have it under control by 7 p.m. Just taking a look around me again, it's still a pretty active scene. So again, ISP troopers are advising people, if they do not live in the area, to please not come through, because there's still a lot of vehicles and trucks and coming through the area to try to get up to that fire to help fight the fire. Mark?
All right, Tristan, we're going to ask you to hold your position there for the remainder of the show so we can continue to update the situation. In the meantime, Brian Holmes joins us live now at River Glen Junior High. It was one of the evacuation sites. And Brian, what did you see there tonight?
Actually, Mark, we're just up the street from River Glen Junior High right now at the corner of Gary Lane here. It turns into Hill Road, and Hill Road goes that way as well. Where about 9:30, there were 3 Boise police officers and their cars parked here, keeping people from going up this road. The road closed sign is still here. The police officers are gone. They're starting to let more and more people kind of come through at their own discretion. We've seen several people run past this sign, others turn around, so it's just kind of whoever lives up here just continues to go. But at River Glen, there were only about 4 or 5 people there at a time, not a whole lot of commotion or excitement at River Glen Junior High, but the evacuation was in order, and that was lifted again also right between 9 and 9:30. We spoke to somebody here who drove by asking if he could get through here. He said he lives in the Sunset subdivision, which is just behind us here down Hill Road. And he said earlier this evening there were police officers driving their cars through the neighborhood on loudspeakers telling people to evacuate and be ready to move in case this fire gets any further. But some people, as you heard Tristan say, a lot of people just come in this direction to watch, see what they could do. We spoke with one woman earlier at River Glen Junior High who was out here just hoping she could help.
I can list probably at least 8 different friends, and their homes are all along Old Hill Road or very close nearby, right where the flames were above their houses, and hopefully they're going to be safe. Hopefully their homes are saved.
Well, as you heard Mark say earlier, that seems to be the case. They have not lost any structures at this point, which is a good thing. So those houses obviously have survived. It is just, like I said, the cars just kind of going through. The evacuation has been lifted. People are going back in and out of the neighborhood, but just a couple of people at a time. So we'll just kind of see how this plays out from here. But right now, still a road closed sign up here on Gary Lane and Hill Road, but that really hasn't stopped people from heading up into their home to make sure that it is okay. Mark?
Brian, we've been told that the major flames have been knocked down. Do you see any active fires burning behind you right now?
No, we're not nearly as close as Tristan is, though. He is much closer to that scene. Fire, like I said, Gary Lane and Hill Road, we're still kind of outside where the fire was. A lot of smoke in this area earlier. I remember driving through here at about 8 o'clock this evening, and it was just kind of caked in smoke all down this corridor, as a lot of people could see it pretty much across the valley.
All right, appreciate you being there tonight, Brian.